So there's this thing in comics that I've heard that it takes 3 trades to make something successful, to have it have life in perpetuity, so it stays on the comic book shelves. So retailers will keep ordering it. Do you think that's the right amount of trades, or do you think it should be more or less? What's your opinion on it?
I can tell you based on sales data, the first 3 trades always sell better. Okay. So if you're doing 5 trades, like I have 5 think tank trades, and I actually think the 4th and 5th trades are the best ones, but they have not sold as well as the first 3. So there certainly is some sort of magic to the first 3.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is people just forget what they've read out of sequence and out of ordering.
Yeah.
And there are so many books now. I mean, I think one retailer's told me there's 400 trades a month.
Wow.
And 2,000 comics a month. And so keeping track of these things is very difficult. I think it's why retailers need, pre-orders. They need to be told what they want.
Of course, and that's why you got to do the marketing. So Hannibal Taboo asks.
Hey Hannibal.
He wants to know if you're going to be doing more books for the rest of the Artifacts line.
Oh, that's a good question. Like I said, we're doing The Darkness. Mm-hmm. And Dan Wickline is writing a book called Tom Judge, which is The Rapture, which should be out sometime later this year. We are doing a book called Heirloom, which is based on the Heartstone. So there are several that are in development. I don't know when they'll all be out. I mean, right now, The Darkness is my big focus. Since I just finished Stairway yesterday, I have to finish up Sugar, and then I've got a couple other things, but then The Darkness becomes my #1 focus for the next several months. So I'm getting back into sort of the Top Cow universe of it all.
So how do you go about making a new Darkness book? Do you go back and reread everything that's been, or do you kind of go back and just say, okay, this is what the concept is, I know this is the take on the character we want, and kind of flesh it out from there? What do you...
No, I went back and reread everything. And it took me a weekend. I think my wife was gone, and I just read everything. And I did that actually when I was writing the end of Witchblade. I wrote the final issue of Witchblade. 185, I wrote which was kind of cool for me, I wrote the last 14 or 16 pages of Sarah Pazzini's career. I just thought about it. I read them all, and I was thinking about it, and I thought about kind of a new take and something different and a little more interesting than trying to make it different, I mean, The Darkness the original Darkness, you go back and read it, it's great, but it does feel very dated to the 90s.
Yeah.
So how do you update that and make it interesting? I really, really enjoyed David Hine and Jeremy Hahn's run. It was much more horror-driven, and the fans didn't really respond to that as well. So trying to figure out and navigate, and that was a choice we made. We made a conscious choice to make it more horror-based.
Yeah.
And it wasn't unsuccessful, but it didn't perform as well as we had wanted it to. And it's actually personally probably my favorite run of The Darkness, actually.
Wow.
I love their run. I think it's so amazing, which is one of those things where as a publisher it's kind of frustrating when you're so into something it doesn't necessarily work as well as you'd hoped.
It's interesting because I feel like it's a very weird formula. Sometimes you can really love something and it just won't hit, and sometimes you don't know how something becomes a hit and it does. And
right.
It's funny how that works.
Well, what do they say? You can't get lucky if you're not playing the game.
Yeah.
Or there was another quote someone wrote that I used the other day that I ripped off. It was something about, it's amazing how much hard work is put into luck.
Yeah.
People that work really hard, or something like that, some quote like that. But
it's true. You make your own luck.
People don't get lucky by sitting in their room playing video games.
Of course.
You're not going to get lucky. But if you're out there trying, like I did my start in the comic industry, 100% luck. It's such a
You were in line on that day when he was hiring everybody, and you were just the next one up, and he's like, you're hired too.
To be there. And I asked Rob why he hired me years later, and Rob and I are friends now. And, May 23rd, like I said, will be our 25th anniversary when he hired me, and he and I are going to go grab lunch down Orange County and celebrate. But, he just said, you seem like you had spunk. I wanted some spunk in the company.
Yeah.